Qualifying for round 8 of the National Saloon Cup at Silverstone had seen the two Peugeots on the front of the grid. Tony Räikkönen on pole position, teammate Danny Eves, who won the first race for Peugeot 2 events ago, just 0.09 of a second behind him. Third fastest, the number 9 Honda of Stephen Day, but he was 0.8 adrift of the pole position man, Simon Harrison, the championship leader, and Mark Lemmer, second in points, qualifying 4th and 5th on the 24-car grid for perhaps the most important race of the season. Stuart Clark getting away from 9th on the grid, rushing down the inside, goes past the slow-starting Mark Lemmer. There is Simon Harrison on the left and Stephen Day on the right-hand side. The two Hondas tailing the pair of yellow Peugeot 306s into the first corner. Through Copse they go. Daniel Eves ahead of Tony Räikkönen at the front of the picture, and the two Hondas side by side. The white car there, Gareth Burnett in his Nissan, he's up into 5th position. The two Hondas side by side, Burnett with Stuart Clark trying to go around the outside of Mark Lemmer. Lemmer fighting back, and Clark's off onto the grass. He goes on board, exiting stage right out of the Beckett's S's, and contact. Oh, and a massive impact. 4, 5, 6, 7 cars involved. The Beckett's S is a very quick part of the track indeed. No place to have an accident. Bailing out of 12 is Nick James as the leaders come down to Stowe for the first time. But the field is definitely split in two by that big multi-car pile-up. Simon Harrison in 3rd, looking back from Daniel Eves at his teammate Tony Räikkönen. Räikkönen in 2nd place. Harrison in 3rd place, the darker yellow and black machine there. And he is being harried by Stephen Day. Gareth Burnett right behind. That's the white car with the red and blue bonnet, the Nissan Primera. So you've got two Peugeots, two Hondas, and then the Nissan in 5th place, Honda in 6th place, and a Nissan in 7th place. That's the 14 car of David Shaw. Well, that is the lead group now, but red flags are out. Yes, it's the only sensible option with a multi-car pile-up exiting Beckett's onto the most important part of the track, the straight. You can see there the 26 car, that's Richard Mines, the blue and white Mencat machine. Clark's car in the centre of the picture, the marshals around him. Let's ride with Stuart Clark then into Beckett's. It all gets a bit squirrely in front of him, trying to turn in tight to the apex, but there was a clunk there as he bounces off the side of Mark Lemmer's machine, spins across the road and then back onto the track, and in the mirror a flash of turquoise. Oh, and then everybody slams into him. The turquoise is Matt Kelly's BMW, so that was the car that made the initial impact, and then half a dozen other cars just couldn't avoid the debris. Again from the outside, he's going off just on the extreme left of the corner. The pale blue, the turquoise BMW, there it is. That's the car that makes the initial contact as he comes back onto the circuit, just as they're piling onto the hangar straight. And cars steaming in from behind, unable to stop. The green car there of Richard Grand Didier, another of the drivers to strike trouble. But in fact, the Frenchman, one of the 17 cars ready for the restart. 7 cars too badly damaged to get away again. This time Tony Räikkönen and Daniel Eves have it all to do once more in the Peugeot. Looking back from Eves, and again he gets the drag on Räikkönen. Pole position on the inside line at Silverstone. The outside line though, where the Formula 1 cars have been, with more rubber down, and perhaps as a result a bit less wheel spin, a bit more grip for Daniel Eves. Certainly he converted 2nd on the grid into the 1st position into the first corner twice in a row. Simon Harrison not making such a good start. This time Stephen Day has held him off. He is 3rd. Simon Harrison looking down the inside though to take that position away. And as they go through Beckett's, again contact. This time the man on the outside just manages to stay on the circuit. Harrison picks up the place as well. He's on the left-hand side of the picture. Stephen Day in the middle, Gareth Burnett on the right-hand side, now riding with Stephen Day. And past him as well goes Mark Lemmer, 1st and 2nd in the championship, right ahead of Stephen Day now. Gareth Burnett in the Nissan on the outside. Stephen Day getting quite a good run down into the Vale, looking to make a place back. But he's on the outside line and he's not going to outbrake anybody doing that. In fact, the white Nissan of David Shaw showing him the nose down the inside because he was so far offline, but Stephen Day holds on there behind Burnett. Now riding with Stephen Day again, rushing from Club down towards Abbey, and this will be a test of outbraking skill. Day just on the extreme right of the picture and looks down the inside of Burnett. Doesn't manage to make a place there, bumps over the curbs, loses a little bit of momentum, and that'll cost him. He's under threat now from the Nissan behind, manages to hold him off though, but that has dropped him away from the Nissan in front of him. Peugeots first and second, then Honda, Nissan. Burnett in 5th place, Mark Lemmer in 4th, second in championship points, and ahead of him the yellow and black machine of the championship points leader Simon Harrison. And Lemmer now dropping away from Harrison, with Burnett really pressuring him hard through the infield stadium section at Silverstone. That's 3rd and 4th, and Burnett looking very well placed to make a move. Coming down the straight, Roukonen doesn't pull out behind his teammate Daniel Eves. They stay 2nd and 1st respectively. Lemmer in 4th place there, the green and white machine, and Burnett getting very, very twitchy as he goes around the outside of Stephen Day. Day over onto the grass as they come down to Maggots. He won't like that very much, but he just didn't have any room to manoeuvre. Into Beckett's, well, going in very fast into the early section of Beckett's, and that's not necessarily a good thing. You need to come out fast from this section here, the left and right-hander that lead out onto the hangar straight, because if you don't, you'll be dead in the water, and everybody else will charge up behind you on the long main stretch here at Silverstone. Tony Roukonen still nailed to the back bumper of Daniel Eves. 3rd place on his own now, Simon Harrison. Mark Lemmer now under pressure from Gareth Burnett. Burnett's really got the Nissan working superbly here at Silverstone. Grand Prix circuit clearly suiting the setup he's chosen for this car. Burnett ahead of Stephen Day. Day looks down the inside in the Vale. He's on the inside line and he should be able to keep Burnett out, but they go right again and Burnett will have the inside line for that. So it's honours even, no change there. Stephen Day holding a very tight line around the inside of Club, and just a little nudge there to the back of Burnett's Nissan. The white car weaves once more. He's on the inside line as they rush down to Abbey. And Stephen Day definitely on the brakes earlier, conceding the corner there rather than the inevitable, which would be an accident if he hadn't. So Lemmer 4th, Burnett 5th, Day in 6th position, and they really are leaving the rest completely behind them. Mind you, they're being left by the 1st, 2nd and 3rd place men as well, and this ferocious battle between the trio won't be helping their lap times and their overall speeds. So the leaders and the 3rd place man, Simon Harrison, the championship points leader, will be pulling away from them at a consistent rate. Well, this is the problem with racing hard for positions when the leaders aren't, is that you slow each other down and they all start to get away. Now almost 3 abreast, certainly Mark Lemmer, with Gareth Burnett looking around the outside. He passed Stephen Day there last lap, doesn't manage to make that move on Lemmer. Day trying to take a position back. This time Stephen Day on the left-hand side of the road and being pushed over by Gareth Burnett. Last time he was on the right-hand side of the road being pushed over by Gareth Burnett. Burnett's car starting to show more and more signs of contact, as indeed are all of them in this battle. Lemmer now with a couple of car lengths as he came into Beckett's, and if he can make that pay, he might be able to extend that by another couple by the end of the hangar straight. Eves and Roukonen out of picture now. 3rd place is Harrison, then the big battle for 4th. Lemmer holding to the right-hand side, but Burnett goes even further to the right. Desperately far offline as he goes in on the brakes, but if he gets his nose ahead, doesn't matter how slow he comes out, he should be able to hold off Lemmer, but he can't. He is spun from behind. Mark Lemmer picks up the back of the car. Gareth Burnett cannons off the barriers. That may not have done terminal damage to the car though, and he may be able to restart. He gets out. Yes, well, the body English says it all. I don't think he's wildly happy with that. Perhaps there was some steering arm breakage or some damage there as he bounced off the barriers. Well, that's certainly removed one element of this 3-way battle for 4th. Now just the 2 Hondas, number 9 here, Stephen Day. Behind him, Mark Lemmer. Riding with Stephen Day, let's have a look again. Burnett goes down the inside of Lemmer. Lemmer comes across and he's on the right-hand side, but picks up the back of the Nissan. Day squeezes through as Lemmer is slowed by the incident. Gareth Burnett goes bouncing off into the tyre wall. Well, Stephen Day picking up that 4th place as a result of the contact there between his 2 rivals. But these 2 rivals and teammates running line astern, and this can't be that easy for Daniel Eves. Always the question in his mind, I'm sure, as to whether Tony Roukonen is going to sit there or make a move. There should be no team orders. Not really much need for them. Roukonen doesn't think that they exist, that's for sure. Moves down the inside into the stadium section, out of the very fast bridge bend. into Priory, taking the lead. Now, what will Eves do? Will he stay behind in numerical order, or will he decide that he fancies a victory here? Further back, Richard Coen-Grandidier in the green Proton Coupe, and making a move under bridge in his white Toyota Carina, number 19, the youngest driver in the field. That's Andrew Delahunty, just 17 years old, and just picking up the place from Chris Osborne, number 5, in a Honda. Osborne normally a Vauxhall Astra driver, moving up a little bit in terms of newness of his machinery. Delahunty putting the moves now on the 24 car, and that is Paolo Sessi in his Honda Integra. Now the leaders starting to spread out a fraction later in the race as Tony Räikkönen eases away from Daniel Eves. He was right up behind his teammate on the back bumper of him, putting Eves under pressure all the way through from the start. Räikkönen, of course, on pole position. Eves twice taking the lead into the first corner and holding it for half the race. Räikkönen now back ahead, and clearly he was being held up by his Peugeot teammate. Two cars run by Bowman Racing, the ex-Formula 3 championship team. And team manager Vic Lee, former British Touring Car Championship winning team manager, certainly doing a very good job with these two drivers and the new Peugeot 306 GTI. Räikkönen rolling away from Eves and leaving as much gap between him and his teammate as there is between his teammate and the points leader Simon Harrison in third place. On the last lap, Andrew Delahunty under pressure once more from Chris Osborne. Kermit, Richard Coen-Grandidier, the Frenchman, behind them in number 13 machine. And the Proton Coupe taking a wide line around the outside of the Honda and picks up a place there. Good driving from him. This is 8th, 9th and 10th, but at the line, Tony Räikkönen taking victory from Daniel Eves. More important points for Simon Harrison, 3rd place at Silverstone. 4th for Stephen Day. Mark Lemmer, 5th place, and he's 2nd in the championship, finishing ahead of Desmond Smales and another of the Hondas. So Harrison continues to lead the championship, but the Peugeot drivers are closing.